Hello, and welcome to ADEN University's live broadcasts. Here we'll meet to share news and trends in the management world aimed at professional and personal development for business professionals. Hello, and welcome to ADEN University's live broadcasts. Here we'll meet to share news and trends in the management world aimed at professional and personal development for business professionals. Specialists will share their tips to plan and improve your business strategy in ways that are directly applicable to your reality. Now we'll share the resume of today's guest. We welcome you, and we hope you enjoy the experience.
Welcome to the challenge of leading teams in the digital era. To start this conversation, we're going to talk a lot about the challenges of leading teams, and especially how it relates to leading teams in the environment that we're working today. If you look back on the history of leading teams, you'll see there are two types of team building that is very important. One is having teams with a very large number of staff. Two is leading teams that have a very small number of staff. What we want to look at today is how do we create teams that work together, and then how do we incorporate this third aspect of it, which is using technology, using the digital era in order to help us create those teams. Let's begin by talking about being here in the United States. We all love football, and I know that we have students spread out all over the world, so I hope that the reference to football will make sense. But as we look at football, there are a number of players out there, and because there's a lot of people each doing an individual job, it's necessary that the coach or the leader in this environment is able to ensure that every individual completes their task. Okay? So now let's look at a team that has a smaller division. Basketball. Basketball, for example, only has 5 people on the team. And so one person has a much more impact on the overall result for success. And so when you're looking at leading teams, and you're looking at how do we create culture that make them work, it's important that you understand, am I working with a large group of individuals who have individual tasks, or am I working with a small group of individuals where everybody is trying to get impact and make out? And as you're looking at that, you're trying to decide, how do I develop my team and develop my culture? It's important that you understand who you're working with and what you're trying to do. Now, we add in this third component, which is using our technology and our digital age in order to make it work. There's so much technology in the world today. There's so many things that are going on. There's so much access and communication and information available to students or to people and employees throughout the world, that if we're going to incorporate this digital technology into these environments, we need to understand what to do. If you look at a large group of individuals, such as a football team, where everybody plays a role that's critical, as you implement technology into that environment, you may find that there's too much, or you may find that the information is not getting to the right people, or you may find that you're having a hard time controlling the amount of communication that's taking place. In order to do this, it's important that you establish very clear expectations of what every individual is responsible for doing, and that you ensure that every person has a goal as to what they're trying to accomplish. That way, the technology can be a tool that these individuals can use instead of a tool that is too large or too much information or not able to support what they need. Now, as you look at small teams, for example, these small teams, their impact is much greater. And so as you implement technology into it, you're probably not going to find that the technology is too much for them to handle. What you're probably going to find is how do they use it as a resource and how do they make it work for them as individuals. And so in order to make that work, it's important, again, that you have clearly defined expectations, but that you let these people who have a large impact on the overall organization and the overall success of a project really lead the way and really control what's happening. One of my favorite examples of using technology in the digital world is using the example of Blake Shelton. Blake Shelton is a country music star here in the United States. He's also very famous for being on a TV show called The Voice. Now, this TV show is recorded in Los Angeles. And so he lives in Los Angeles and he works in Los Angeles and he spends all of his time in Los Angeles. But being a country music star, all of the best performers, the best producers, the best marketing people, they are all in Nashville, Tennessee, which is thousands of miles away on the other side of the United States. And so what Blake Shelton needs to be able to do here is he needs to be able to live in one area, but work with a team of individuals who live on the other side of the United States. In order to accomplish this, what he does is he records the voice in a sound studio in Los Angeles, emails it basically to all of the people in Nashville, and then the producers, the musicians, the background, the editors, all of the rest of that team can work together in order to ensure that a very high quality product is being created. This is a really good example of working with technology in the digital age. And that brings us to the question is, what does a highly effective modern team look like? And as you look at what Blake Shelton is doing with his team, that's really what it looks like. They're taking the best professionals in the whole world, and they're putting them in different places, and they're providing them with the resources that they need in order to do their jobs. And as they provide them with these resources, as they give them the tools, as it goes from one professional to another professional, these teams can produce very high quality products spread out all over the world, and in the end, produce a final result that is very successful. And so as you're working with your departments, as you're working as a leader, as you're developing your teams and creating cultures, one of the things to keep in mind is that you have access to so many professionals spread out all over the world that you can get the best of the best. But that requires great leadership. And it requires that if you're going to be working with small teams, you take these high professionals and you give them the exact information that they need and you have them execute it. And if you're working with very large teams, that they have very specific goals, that every individual knows exactly what it is, what their responsibilities are, and they execute those responsibilities with ease as well. Working with these two different types of teams and incorporating digital information into it will allow you to develop very high, very successful teams. Now, what I'd like to look at the end here is a list of best practices. And as you're developing your teams and as you're trying to figure out how do I make these successful, you want to look at what are the best practices for these teams. And what they are is, if you look at it, the very first one is, does the team have clearly defined expectations? Whether you're working with large teams or small teams, it's critical that each individual member has a clearly defined expectation, and that the team overall has a very clearly defined expectation. So as a leader, it's your responsibility to outline that expectation and make sure that every individual knows exactly what it is they're supposed to do and exactly what the end result will look like. Your ability to create a culture where everyone understands what it is they're doing and what they're working on will allow you to exceed expectations and accomplish the overall result. The second question is, are the resources available for the team to function at the highest level? So many times I've seen projects where a group of individuals wants to do great work, they want to produce very high quality, but they don't have the resources or the tools or the ability to do their job to what they're capable of. If you take the example that we shared a few minutes ago about Blake Shelton wanting to work with the very best producers, the very best musicians, the very best background, he is going on and finding the people who have the most amount of skill in order to do this. However, if he were to select these people but not give them the resources that they need in order to accomplish their work, the end result would be very poor. And so it's critical that you as a leader, it's your responsibility to provide these resources and ensure that everyone has what they need in order to be successful. Next, are there systems in place to monitor, recognize, and impact the team's performance? One of the most important parts of completing a project is making sure that you are making progress along the way and that you're accomplishing the goals as you go. And thus, you should be, as you're developing projects, putting in timelines establishing when things should be done and what they should look like. And then it's your responsibility as the leader to come behind, make sure that those projects are being done on budget, according to the expectations, that the quality is at the level that you need. And when that happens, it's important that you give feedback to your teams, that you tell them, I'm very happy with this, or I'm not happy with that. This is a great example. Let's create more of this. As you're giving feedback and working with these individuals, they'll be able to take that feedback, they'll be able to take that information and run with it. And as you give them that ability to run, they'll be able to produce high quality, on point, completion of projects and according to the goals and expectations that you've set for them. Always make sure that you're giving feedback, both good and bad, so that your staff knows exactly what it is that you're trying to do, and they can help you accomplish the goals that you have set. Next, as you analyze your team, are there individual areas or people who cannot meet the expectations? This is one of the hardest parts in developing a team, is knowing, do I have the right people in order to accomplish the goals that I've set? And one of the things that I've seen is I've seen teams who have 10 or 15 people who are doing great work, but then they have 1 or 2 people who have a bad attitude or are not skilled enough or are not capable of accomplishing the goals. And when you have those 1 or 2 people, it then creates kind of a cancer within your overall team, and it makes it very difficult for the team to function. As you're analyzing each individual, their expectations and their skills and abilities, I'm certain that you'll be able to identify who are the areas of very difficult for the areas where you need to have improvement. As you identify those, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to remove them from the project. It just means that you need to help them get on the project and understand what it is they're trying to do. And so if you're working with these individuals and you're trying to help them progress, show them what you like, give them feedback, talk to them, have them work with others who are producing the results that you're looking for, help them capture the vision of the project and what it is you're trying to accomplish. And over time, you'll see these individuals progress and grow and become successful. Now, there are circumstances where you may need to remove an individual and replace them with another. And this is often difficult to make that decision as to when I should take somebody out of the project and put a new person in. Normally, when I'm trying to make this decision, I look at 2 things. I look at skill versus will. And if the problem is that the employee doesn't have the right skills in order to produce the results that I'm looking for, well, then as the leader, it's my responsibility to train them and develop them and help them. But if I find that the problem is that the individual doesn't have the will, they don't want to, they don't enjoy it, they don't like it, then I'm telling myself, I need to get a new person involved here, or I need to help them understand it and want to do it. If it's a skill problem, it's on me. I need to train them and I need to develop them as the leader. But if it's a will problem, then I can do my best to motivate and inspire and give them purpose and help them. But in the end, I need that individual to put forth their best effort. And if I'm not seeing that happening, that's when I might make a decision to move forward with a new person or a new process. Next, well, as you analyze your team, the question is, can you provide the resources that you need? And if so, then you want to be able to go in and give them the pieces that they're looking for. If you cannot provide them, then you need to look at what changes need to be made and figure out how to provide those resources that are there. Lastly, how does the team work together? And this is a really important part of it, because as you're looking and working with teams, you're going to find that you have great individuals with great skills and abilities to do so many wonderful things. But if I can't get those people to work together on the same team, then I won't be able to produce an overall successful result. We've seen many times throughout sports and businesses and all sorts of different organizations where you have a really strong, very successful person who's very capable, but doesn't work well with others, doesn't create a good culture, doesn't have the ability to offload assignments onto other people, or utilize other people in order to make projects successful. And when you find that that's what you're running into, you have to be able to make changes. As you're working in a digital era, it gives you access to so many professionals, so many wonderful people throughout the world. And you have to say, can my team that I'm working with here work with those individuals there? Or can I connect them better? Or can create a culture where they're excited to be with one another? Are they sharing ideas? Are they learning and growing from each other? Are they having opportunities to do their best work? And if we're providing opportunities for these individuals to do those things, then we will find in the end that our overall projects are very successful. As you're looking and progressing and developing and figuring out your leadership style, one of the things that I believe is very, very powerful is to learn while you work. I've told this story to many people that while I was completing my master's degree and my doctorate degree, I was also working full time. And what that allowed me to do is I was able to go home at night, study, learn theories, look at best practices, figure out marketing strategies or leadership strategies, look at all sorts of different ways to do my job. And then the very next day, I was able to go and implement those ideas in work. I was able to share strategies. I was able to sit in meetings and share ideas that I had just learned the night before. And then that night, go home and learn new theories and new strategies and new best practices so that the next day I could come back and do it again. I had the opportunity over the course of 4 or 5 years to be learning every night and implementing every day. And as I did that, my leadership developed, my teams developed, the people that I worked with got better and better. I was able to take advancements in my position and take on more responsibilities because every day I was learning and growing. At ADEN University, we value this opportunity so much, and we want our students to be able to learn the theories and learn the practices and learn how to be great leaders, and at the same time, put those into practice and use them and make them part of your career. And so what we try to do is create environments within the classroom where students can learn and grow and they can develop their understanding, but at the same time, use that and make it part of their careers and develop their leaderships and take on more projects and more opportunities. I hope that as you continue to learn and grow and look for opportunities throughout your career and throughout your life, that you'll seek additional education, you'll seek to create amazing cultures, you'll look to develop your leadership, and as you do that, your opportunities will continue to just progress, and you will find that you're very successful in your career as you go. It's been a pleasure to work with all of you today, and I look forward to the opportunity to work with you going forward.